例のやつを。驚いたな。
You know, while this season looks like it's been moving a little bit slower to me than last season, I found myself kinda thoroughly appreciating episodes 2 and episode 3. Now granted, I did not just watch these episodes just once because obviously I have to make a video on these 2 episodes, but slower paced episodes aren't really the types that I really want to revisit most of the time, just because they don't have as many memorable moments as some hyper episodes. But while I was doing my due diligence in actually trying to prepare for this video, it made me actually appreciate episodes 2 and episode 3 a lot more than I would have initially. Also, as a side note, I would normally make 1 video per episode, but with the way how I've been kind of falling behind lately with the episode uploads, because I started this season a little bit later than I normally do.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
In order to catch up faster, I'm doing more episodes in 1 video. That said, going back to my original point, these episodes really just made me realize that I do not know shit about war or politics. Because I am not going to lie to you, all of the communist confusion that came in episode 2 genuinely had me mind boggled as to what the hell was the problem here. Like, low-key, I don't know, bro. Your boy might be a little bit slow, I'm just saying. Because I was low-key confused as to why Tanya looked at this man in the interrogation booth with such despair and distraughtness, like she just saw what I saw when YouTube posted that post about them increasing the requirements for YouTube monetization. Like, genuinely, YouTube, why the fuck are you doing this to me? Aside from that though, like, let's be real, a lot of mainstream anime don't really do it like this, where they actually get in depth with the rules and politics and all the actual complications of actual real life war. Like, deadass, I'm just used to seeing niggas box it out, bro. I'm just used to seeing niggas box it out and find a winner at the end of it. However, this anime has done something that I did not expect. It genuinely made me appreciate the strategies involved in actual real life warfare, and made me also realize just how much you have to consider as a war strategist inside of this type of show. And obviously, since it's an anime, you'll have some themes that are displayed that are over exaggerated more so than others. That doesn't take away from the validity of it being actually referenced in real life. Like, I'm not even joking, I actually went on a brief research spree actually studying how warfare works and how these ideologies come into play when considering different strategies. And it genuinely made me appreciate the anime that much more. I mean, I'd usually punch my fucking screen if an anime gave me homework to do before being able to fully enjoy the episodes. But if I was able to take the time to understand Jujutsu Kaisen's power system, then I'm more than likely capable of understanding this. But it's an underrated trait when an anime actually gets you invested enough to want to understand it to a deeper level like this. And taking the time to actually thoroughly watch these episodes made me more appreciate a certain sociopathic maniac that we all know and love, of course, Tanya, because it made me understand more thoroughly the complexities of Tanya's character and how she reflects the human nature realism that most of us possess. Which is why I said in the last video that to some extent, I kind of find Tanya somewhat relatable. You know, minus the fucking sociopath part. But Tanya is a person who sticks to her core principles no matter what the case is, for better or for worse. Like, take a look back in season 1 how Tanya had an entire Irwin class level speech about how humans are still emotional creatures at the end of the day. How when they are pushed to the brink of their emotions, they will always choose emotion over reason, irregardless of what they might stand to gain or lose. She sees humans as animalistic beasts who are still victims to their own baser instincts. And she then points out that Strategic HQ failed to recognize this about their enemies, which is what held them back, making them think that the war was over. However, the interesting thing about Tanya is that even though she is completely aware of how emotional humans can be, she herself fails to consider this in season 2. Because with the offer of the Ildoa Kingdom trying to negotiate for peace, Tanya assumes once again that the war is finally approaching its end, as she believes the only sensible choice would be to accept the offer. Like, she is so secure in that idea that she even lets her guard down, assuming no other choice is possible. Because after all, why even bother continuing a war that you don't even have to, especially when you've lost so many soldiers and resources? Logic just dictates that you let it be over with and cut your losses. But through looking at it from such a logical perspective, Tanya makes a grave mistake. She misjudges her allies and makes the realization that they are in fact the same type of animal. They are also willing to throw their lives away regardless of logic and reason, all from the emotions that build up from the casualties of war, something that Tanya herself doesn't have any sympathy over. While Tanya can look at it as an overall positive for the longevity of the empire, they see it as dishonorable, they see it as surrender, which leads to them telling the Ildoa Kingdom to, and I quote, "eat shit. Because the final decision is that they want to avenge their lost brethren. They want to win this war with their own bare hands. They don't want it to be brought to peace by another nation. Because to them, that peace is just a cover-up band-aid for the overall wound. Some would say that someone who claims to have experienced the emotional side of human beings to such an extent that they really and truly expect it from their enemies would know better than to think that their allies would just sit down taking this lightly. But what I think was going on here wasn't simply that Tanya forgot what she said. It was more of a thing where she just misjudged her allies specifically because she held them to a higher degree. From Tanya's perspective, her most trusted allies for the most part have been intelligent and logical thinkers just like her, which when you really look at it wasn't a misjudgment because her allies are able to understand what she is saying. However, the emotional side of them doesn't want to accept it. She held their logical perspective to the same level as she holds her own. Tanya is the very embodiment of cold hard logic, and I don't think there is anyone in the show who thinks the same way as her, at least not to the same extent. In fact, for the most part, people are almost intimidated and scared of how logical her brain is. And I don't know if we'll ever reach a point in the story where Tanya actually displays some level of emotional thinking either. But from my perspective, I'm actually very intrigued by this character because I just think she's very much relatable in a lot of senses because I'm also a logical thinker in some aspects, which is why a lot of the frustrations that she experiences in this show I actually understand. And with that being said, if I were in her position right now, I'm not going to lie to you, I probably would have aired that entire bitch out.
You what?
Cause the fuck do you mean we're still going to war, bro? I've been waiting for this shit to be over. Do you think I enjoy busting my ass on the battlefield, almost dying every time? Like, nigga, let me rest. Like, I can tell that me and this girl are on the exact same wavelength because she was considering the exact same thing. Just know that if it was me, everybody in this bitch getting moved. I hate you, nigga, let's die.